Welcome back to the channel. This is Sketchy Jeep. I'm back with another install video today, and over the course of a couple of days I will be installing my Motobilt bumper. Cheap aux beam pods that are also going to go in the bumper because it does not have a spot for the fog lights. And I have a winch from Motobilt over there in the corner that's going to be going on as well. I will be painting it. I'm going to go with the body color of the Jeep. I ordered some Mopar billet silver metallic paint, and I'm gonna get some red accents on here as well. So stay tuned, like, subscribe, and check the video out. All right, so first things first. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to tape off some of these areas right here that I'm gonna be painting the body color, because the back of the bumper itself, I'm going to put a bed liner on the back. So after taking off the hardware for these studs, because I'm about to paint, I found out that the winch plate wasn't welded on there, so it's a separate piece. So that makes it a little bit easier to paint underneath the bottom of it. And I gotta say that the welding job on this bumper is really good. It's top notch. So I'm gonna finish taping off the other studs, and then we're gonna start painting. So that wraps up the first coat, and I can tell you this thing is working, because until just taking it off right now, I didn't smell any fumes. So I'm gonna leave the garage for a little bit, let it dry for about 20 minutes or so, and then do a second coat. I just got finished up with the winch plate and the inside of the bumper with the bed liner. Now I'm about to go over the front of the bumper with the primer, prior to applying the base coat of the billet silver metallic. All right, so what I just did was I took the masking tape I used when I was spraying the inside of the bumper, and I used an X-Acto knife and cut out the shape of where I planned on putting the pod, the light pod. And then I used a cardboard from a box I had laying around, and I made that rough shape of the mounting area for the pod. And then I pretty much marked it up on how I wanted it and where I thought it would be the best position for that light, and kind of made a little hole. So this is where the mounting screw is going to go for that light, and the light is going to sit off on the bumper, and it's a mirror image on the other side. So all I got to do is flip it around, and it'll be in the same exact spot on the opposite side of the bumper. I'm also going to make another hole on the back of the light for the wire routing. I don't want the wire to be visible from any angle on the bumper, so I'm going to make another hole on the bumper to route the light underneath it. So it should look pretty clean. And you see what it looks like in a second. Okay, so I found it easier when I was drilling the holes for the bumper to mount my pods to start with a smaller bit, then work my way up. And also, after you finish drilling it, try to file down the holes, because they did leave nicks and burrs after drilling it, and it might damage your wires. So try to file it down. Okay, so I just finished up about 3 or 4 coats of the base coat. Now I'm going to apply the clear coat to it, and then I think I'll be finished after that. Okay, so bumper is finished being painted. Turned out pretty good. I was going to paint right here with the red accent. I think that would look pretty cool. Man, looking at it right now, that probably would have been cool. So I might do that. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to start mounting the wire and the pods that I have for it. All right, so now I'm gonna start working on the wiring for the bumper. For the pods, I'm gonna mount them and run the wiring to have a connector coming off right here in the same location as the winch, so I can just run it to the vehicle. Here you can see I'm loosely fitting the pods onto the bumper so that I can get ready to start routing my wires. So I'm not making any of the bolts tight. I'm just getting an idea of how I want my length to be for the wire that I'm going to route behind the bumper. The wire harness that I'm using for this is a wire harness I got off of Amazon. The link will be available in the description. It comes with a relay, switch, and connector for any light that you want to set up on your vehicle. Now with my install, I'm not going to be utilizing the relay or the switch because my Jeep does have the aux switch from the factory. So I cut those and removed them. However, I will be using the 2 separate branches it has on it for the 2 different light pods I have. One going to the left pod on the bumper and one going to the right pod on the bumper. So here again, you can see I am just testing the length of the wire to see what kind of modification I need to do, whether I need to extend it a little bit or whether I need to make some cuts. And looking at it right now, I can tell that I'm going to have to extend it because it's not going to reach on the passenger side. So I'm going to route it underneath the bottom of the winch plate, and I'm going to have to extend that wire on the passenger side a little bit so we can get to that light. Here I am just installing the male connectors onto the wires that come off of the light pods. The wiring harness I ordered off Amazon did come with these male and female connectors, so you should have more than enough for the job. But if you do make a mistake, you can just run to your local AutoZone and pick up a few more for pennies on the dollar. Now I've installed the winch plate temporarily to the bumper, and I'm going to use it as a reference to start routing the wiring harness onto the winch plate, and I'm going to use tie down straps or zip ties to mount that. I also temporarily wired or attached the wire harness from the pods to the wiring harness that's on the winch plate using electrical tape so that it can stay in place. I also gave myself enough slack just in case any mistakes were made. Now I did have to extend the wires going to the passenger side pod because it wasn't long enough for me to route it underneath the winch plate, and you'll see that in a later frame of the same video. The main connector coming off of the bumper for the lights, I used some connectors I got from Amazon that specifically said it was waterproof, but you could probably also get this connector from your local auto store such as AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts. Now after you make this connector, you're gonna have to do the same thing on the wires that's coming from the battery to that connector. Just make sure your polarities are set up correctly, so red to red, black to black, because that could be swapped around easily. So make sure it's red to red, black to black. And that about wraps it up for this first part of the video. It's gonna be a 2-part video. So next video will be installing the winch, the bumper onto the vehicle, and wiring the light pods onto the auxiliary switches. So make sure you subscribe, like the video, comment, let me know what you think, and check out number 2.